The entire setup of this year has changed because of COVID restrictions.
It's definitely been different, to say the least. COVID is something that we're very aware of and that we are proactively trying to protect against, which is why I'm wearing a mask. And everybody around the set will be also in masks.
The show itself is already a difficult one to begin with. And then facing a pandemic, it's just been a whole nother level that, you can never anticipate for.
When I started this season, my hair was pinned straight, and then every day it just went like that.
You can tell in our eyes that we need a little bit of sleep. It's a challenge within a challenge, and it's almost producing 2 shows within one.
We're getting tested very regularly. If I got tested any more often, I'd live with a swab of my nose.
Each of our camera departments has to travel in its own separate pod.
We've had to mask up, we've had to keep our distance, we've had to go in stores when they're closed for business, we've had to shop online.
I don't do technology very well. By the end of this, you're gonna be a pro.
All the adjustments that everybody in real life is making for COVID, we're making times about 1 million, mostly to keep everybody safe, but also to be able to even produce the show.
It was definitely a concern whether or not this show was possible to do, because we are not necessarily only stage-based. We're in the world, we go to restaurants, we do events. We talked about, is this season going to be a season where we're completely in the stage? Are we going to rent out a summer camp and turn it into a Top Chef summer camp? How can we be safe and still produce the show was the question.
From a pedigree standpoint, this could be the best collection of chefs we've had on the show in 18 seasons.
Casting this year was a lot easier actually than I thought it was going to be. I was concerned that a lot of chefs were going to say, I can't step away from my restaurant for that long. I can't do it right now with COVID, But I think we found the opposite to be true. A lot of chefs either didn't have enough going on in their restaurant that they felt tied to staying there, or could see this also as a great means to keep their restaurant in the public eye so that hopefully people would want to go to their restaurants once things started to open back up.
I've been locked up in my house since March. I'm trying to connect with humans for the first time in 5 months, and I'm awkward.
Because of COVID, nobody's been able to do any tastings for this round of casting. So we actually had Top Chef alumni Gregory Gourdet and Brooke Williamson participate in Zoom interviews to really get a good idea if they can compete on a Top Chef level.
Everything has been hard about this season, but I think the truth of the matter is everything that's hard makes it even that much more worthwhile.
It's a learning curve, and by the minute, things change. And the best thing we can do is just adapt. And I think we've been doing a really great job of that.
My name is Chris King, and I'm a challenge producer here on Top Chef Season 18. We create the challenge, we pitch the challenge, we work with the culinary department to make sure it's got a great angle to it. We find and book locations like this beautiful vineyard where we can shoot. And then on the day of, we basically make sure to support the chefs by providing them with the equipment that they need and the culinary assistance that they need, while still making sure that it's a challenge for them. So it's kind of like figuring out how to keep it fair, but to make sure our chefs are as supported as they can be.
We want the chefs to do the best that they can, put out the best food that they can, but they can only do it within the parameters we're making available. And that's always a challenge.
I think we learned very early on that the audience of Top Chef does not care about super gamey challenges. We tried to do an Olympics challenge in Vancouver that people did not love. I'll take the heat for that. I liked it. It was the triathlon challenge, and maybe we went a little too over the top on that challenge, and I heard the note.
You okay?
So I think it's like finding a balance of competitive challenge versus chefy foodie challenge. So, can you make it something that the chefs are excited to do, can succeed at, but also puts them to the very edge of this is crazy that we're doing this, but it's awesome too.
You may have noticed something missing from your pantry.
There are no vegetables in your pantry. Spin, ha!
Traditionally, we've been able to produce challenges where we're feeding hundreds of people We have festivals. Those are always big challenges for our chefs. You know, when COVID hit, one of the things that one of our producers came up with was a drive-in movie theater. That's made a big comeback, and that's a safe way to bring 100 people to our set in vehicles where they're all isolated. It was a challenge in itself because not only do you have vehicles coming in, you have chefs cooking in the rain. We had a movie screen, and Padma shot all these really fun interstitials, but then we also had a live feed of the chefs cooking in the kitchen, so everyone in their vehicles was watching on screen. They could see the action. You also have the chefs stepping up to the microphone and telling the audience what their dish was.
This is a very typical dish in Mexico, and you eat it after the bars, and after you got some action, you get a hot dog. So, thank you.
Oh, that's very good.
And that was being fed through the FM radio. So we had a real movie theater experience going on.
Unsung hero of this show is Elizabeth Nelson, our tech supervisor, and Aaron Sadler, our audio supervisor.
The drive-in was technically challenging, mostly because we do everything pretty quickly with this schedule. A lot of things to coordinate in a short amount of time with a lot of different departments, but we pulled it off.
Top Chef feels like a really inclusive family, and we're with each other for 12 to 14 to 16 hours during the day at work, and then we're also hanging out with each other at night as a crew and getting to explore new cities that we've been dropped into.
You know, it's one of those things where we come back year after year because we love doing the show, even though it's crazy.
This is my 3rd season.
How many seasons have I directed? 5? I've been directing for 5 seasons. But I've been on the show actually since season 3.
I've been working on Top Chef for 18. This is my 8th season working on Top Chef.
Sadly, I've been trying to get on Top Chef for about 10 seasons, and this is my first one, so hopefully I don't screw it up.
I've worked on all 18 seasons of Top Chef, including all seasons of Masters and the first season of Just Desserts and Top Chef Duels.
My first season was Top Chef 5 as a cast wrangler, and then I kind of worked my way up from there.
What got me further in this job, I think, was, I actually don't know. I don't know what it was.
I just kind of failed upwards.
I think that was my willingness to work, be a problem solver, and come up with ideas. And I guess I wasn't afraid to throw out ideas. I was always constantly like, what if we do this? Or what if we do that? And I wasn't gonna get my feelings hurt if somebody didn't like my idea. Also, when we gotta figure out something on the fly, I don't get paralyzed with fear about it. You have to have backups to the backups to the backups. And that, I think, is what makes you successful, that you can think through something and you don't let it stop you. You just gotta move on to the next thing.
I keep coming back to the show because I get to work with such talented people.
Everyone that I work with in this department may have a different approach to a problem, so together we make a really good team.
I think we have level, even-keeled people who don't let themselves get stressed out too much to where it's trickling down to others.
Also, our first AD is quite handsome. He's also standing right behind you, so I have to say these things.
As a producer, we learn a lot from the chefs. We learn their work ethic. We're on our feet long hours, they're on their feet long hours.
They are up early, crack of dawn, like 6 a.m. They don't go to bed till like midnight. You know, if they're not cooking, they're in interviews. If they're not in interviews, they're waiting around trying, they're always doing something.
Honestly, when I have a tough day and I get worn down, I look at them and they're always gonna have a harder day because they have to cook while doing it. And so we do take a lot of inspiration from the chefs. And I think that's helped keep me sane over these last few years.
Anything I missed or anything that we should touch on?
I can reveal no more secrets.